We are on Colin's Conversations. I'll let you introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, kind of what you do, how you got here, and we'll go from there.
Okay. My name is Jamil the Show. I'm a rapper, producer, singer, bunch of different things. I just came out with an album, Beautiful, and I'm happy to be here to talk about it.
I should probably turn off the album, Beautiful, so we could actually hear each other talk. Been listening to it all day. I've also been listening to, it's what, 2 and 3? Is that?
Yeah. So what happened with that is I used to do mixtapes, right? Mm-hmm. And I'd call it the Jamil Show, right? And so I gave each mixtape a season, right? So the first one's season 1 and then
Gotcha.
Season 2. So I did season 3 and then I did season 3 part 2. But when I decided I wanted to put things on streaming, I was like, okay, I can only use some of the songs that like don't have samples and all that kind of stuff. And so I just called it 3-2 because it's from season 3 part 2.
Yeah, when I was listening to that, I couldn't tell quite what you were. I was like, does he have a podcast I don't know about? Like, I thought I did a pretty thorough scrub, and I was like, there's no podcast that I could see, and then that makes sense. Beautiful just came out. That was just a few months ago.
Yeah, it was late December, so it's been pretty recent.
How's everybody been embracing that?
It's been awesome. You know, I'm like super excited that people just care about what I'm doing at this point. So. If you listen to it, thank you. That's all I can ask for.
There are a few influences that I could find, kind of like at least sounds that I kind of picked out of different things. Okay. But if somebody were to ask you who your influences are for creating music, what would you say?
I mean, there's so many. So that's why I'm really interested to hear what you thought you heard. Because I mean, when I was little, I used to listen to I wanted to be Lil Bow Wow, or I wanted to be in like a boy band like NSYNC or like B2K or something. So like I'm incorporating those kind of like harmonies in like the pop sounds.
Right.
But then, I look to people like Stevie Wonder, who's just a genius making music.
Absolutely.
Or like Andre 3000, his poetic writing style. But then there's like more recent people, like I saw Anderson .Paak when he came to Cleveland last year. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal. And, I just love to, kind of pull from these different areas and just build something from there.
I wish I would have wrote down the one. You could maybe help me. There's one song that you have. I'm pretty sure it's on the new project. Might have been on the one right before it. Mm-hmm. It sounds so much like Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh yeah. So are you talking about All the Way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm so bad with names. Like I know what I'm trying to say, but I'm like, good thing he wrote the shit because that way he could actually like bail me out and figure out what it is. But yeah, I was listening to it and I don't know if it was just the melodies or the cadence of who was on the feature. Yeah. But like you're listening to it, you're like, that's Cleveland music.
And that was real intentional. I definitely wanted to pay homage to the people who paved the way. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to just practicing being able to rap a little bit faster, do more syllables. And so that was a good way to put something together where I could like try and make something happen. So
absolutely. Then
I like that you caught that. I appreciate that.
Sunday Service, definitely you're pulling from Kanye.
Funny story about that. So I wrote Sunday Service in 2016, which is a good bit before he did the put together his Sunday Service.
You saw it there first.
Yeah, no, I've been working on it. I started the album a while ago. And so when he did it, at first I was like, oh man, I can't put out my idea now because it's not original. They're going to think I'm biting. And, I'm already talking about like taking time for yourself. And that's kind of similar to what he's doing. But, at the end of the day, when he put out his Sunday Service, like I was just like, oh, this is good. I have no problem paying homage to something like that.
Did you get a spike in listens from that, kind of just from people searching for his Sunday Service and finding you think?
I don't know. I think it's been a little too soon to...
too soon to tell?
Yeah. And, I'm still trying to get my SEO right. So, you never know until you look at the analytics where people are coming from.
How did Jamil the Show come up? Because that's one of those, there's 2 or 3 other things on the internet that are using that. You said that it was kind of a mixtape. Was that just trying to incorporate all you do into one name, or how'd you come up with that?
You want the long version or the short version?
I want the long or the short version, whichever one nobody else knows about.
So basically, and this kind of taps into how I got started. So basically, in high school, I started doing this. My mom got me like a $20 camera, right? Mm-hmm. And she was like, yeah, do whatever you want with it, right? So I would like bring it around with all my friends, and we started to do this like vlog kind of thing. And I called it the Jamil Show. And like, it was like, think like iCarly, but like black. And like not that funny. My voice didn't drop yet. And it was just, it's cringeworthy. Like it's awful. And so when I started rapping now, late high school, I started making my own beats. I'm like, I want to make a mixtape. So then what I decided was, hey, if I call it like the Jamil Show, then like all the homies will remember what it was, and it'll be like a nice idea. So I started making music, and when I made these mixtapes, I called it the Jamil Show Season 1, you know, all those. And but then like I wasn't frustrated, but it was confusing because a lot of people thought the Jamil Show was my name. Like technically it was just the title of the mixtapes, you know. But I was just putting out music as Jamil, like just Jamil. And for whatever reason, there's a ton of rappers named Jamil. And one of them is pretty popular. He's out in Italy.
Gotcha.
Just this Italian guy. I was like, I can't be just Jamil. Nobody's gonna find me. But I don't want to just be the Jamil Show because that's not my name. It was more what I did. So in the process of like trying to get my brand right and, you know, show people that I'm serious about this, I decided to be Jamil and the show, because I'm always going to be Jamil and the show is what I do.
Yeah, it's kind of the power of, like, same reason why for me Colin can help Colin's Conversations. By instead of picking just one name, you know, whatever you want it to be, by going with your name, people expect adaptation, kind of. You're going to progress and you're going to grow. It's not going to be the same shit over and over and over. So if you decide you know, you want to go real hip hop, then you want to go pop, then you want to go, even if you want to throw some country shit in there, like it's just Jamil and the show. Like the show this week is this. Like it allows the flexibility, but still keeping that one constant of you. Yeah,
and you know, and I think it also helps me to be, you know, as authentic as I can. You know, I think it's like a reminder to myself that like,
your name's on the front door.
Like this has got to be me, and it's gonna be me. You know what I mean?
You have a lyric in one of your songs. You're from the 440, but now 216. Where in the 440 did you grow up? Was it Willoughby?
So I grew up in Willoughby.
I like the smile. He's like, oh shit, he actually did listen to all my stuff.
No, that's deep. That's deep. I appreciate that. I grew up in Willoughby, and then I stay out in Heights now.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of.
Have you moved anywhere else, or has it always been just the Northeast Ohio area for you?
So I went to school in Cincinnati and Columbus too.
Gotcha.
And so, you know, I've kind of been, you know, everywhere.
How about traveling wise? Anywhere that you really want to go, or anywhere that you're really happy that you've been?
I would really like to go to, I feel like Japan would be cool, just to say I went.
Are you into anime and stuff?
Like casually.
Sushi?
Yeah, I like sushi. Yeah,
absolutely.
So, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, I think that'd be cool to go. Or like New Zealand, you know, you see the pictures and it's beautiful.
For sure. He's got his mindset that he wants long trips.
Well, I mean, you know.
If you're going to go, got to go all the way, right?
Exactly. And like, I mean, I got places in America, you know, like I think it'd be cool to go to Nashville. That's been like on my radar.
Yeah, we just, my dad moved about an hour. We didn't go into Nashville proper, but now I've got that nice little home base about an hour away.
Exactly.
So when we went down to New Orleans, it was that perfect little, boom, stay here for the night. 8 hours more, you're right down to New Orleans. Definitely go there if you haven't.
Yeah, I've been to New Orleans twice. And you know, that was cool, but you know, I wasn't 21 when I went.
Oh, so. That's too bad.
So you know, we got plans to go back.
And how old are you now?
25. I just turned 25 2 weeks ago.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
So for somebody that's under 25, you're not making the typical, you know, money, cars, hoes music. Is that just because like you said, you want to keep that authenticity, that your name behind it, that you're going with more highbrow content, or how do you pick what you want to make a song about?
It's just whatever's coming across my life. So, you know, I never really have money. I don't have cars like that. I had no hoes. Can I say that? I don't have any women in my life. You know, in big amounts like that. So, you know, it's just all about being authentic and, you know, talking about, you know, what I'm on.
And what about the actual, we've talked a couple different things about the lyrics, but you're also doing a lot of your own production too, aren't you?
Yeah, so I make all my beats.
And what are you doing? Are you doing that through like a Fruity Loops, or what type of?
Yeah, these Fruity Loops.
And tell us about how you got into Fruity Loops, and as the producer side of it, kind of what made you go, instead of, you know, just banging on the table, what took you to a computer and figuring out all those DAWs?
I was a band kid growing up, so I was always playing instruments, right? I was a drummer.
What do you play, just drums?
I fool around with other things though, you know, like I can play a piano, I can play guitar.
Do you read music?
Yeah.
It's amazing how many amazing musicians I've talked to that have no idea how to read music, and it's just,
and you know, that's okay.
To be able to just pick it up and to be able to figure it out, that's so much more amazing to me.
And you know, the crazy thing is like so much of music is just math.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like putting together a chord is just 1 plus 3 plus 5, whatever.
Do you see music in color?
Yeah, so I can tell you whatever. I assign colors to songs.
Gotcha.
So like if it's either it's like a mood or like I can close my eyes and tell you like, okay, this is this color, this is this color.
That's been the most fascinating thing. Scuff Mixon was on the show, and he was just I don't remember if it was his interview or maybe it was when Cabin was talking about him, but saying that he's like, no, the song's too blue, it's got to be more green or something like that. Like for somebody that doesn't make music and their brain isn't seeing it in the colors, so you're listening to this and you're seeing a whole rainbow, you're seeing a box of crayons. No wonder that you can make so much better shit than I do,
But it makes sense. Like, you ever read those articles where like people talk about like different colors at different moods, or like you ever hear somebody talk about like the president always has to like pick a certain tie. So like if they're talking about war, presidents are always wearing red ties,
right?
But if it's just casual, they might have like a blue tie on. You know what I mean? I think there's moods that go with colors, and so for an artist to be able to see a color in their head when they make a song, that's it. A lot of times it's just them picking up what kind of mood they're going for.
That makes sense when you listen to your stuff, how it's not just it's not just a rhythmic 808 going boom 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 or anything like that. Like you're changing tones in the song, you're changing the melodies, and like it's kind of working almost like through like a whole story opposed to just like a melodic rhythmic boom boom boom.
Yeah, well, I try to put together like stories and concepts and ideas, and making 808s is my favorite part. Because like when I'm like putting together like a 808, I like to think of it like, first off, a lot of times it's your bass line, so if you go back to like the dopest songs that we can remember, a lot of times it's like something with a crazy bass line where there's a real bassist, playing something dope. But then also like I like to think of it like a roller coaster ride. So you remember Reading Rainbow? Mm-hmm. Okay, you remember how like as the words would come across on the bottom, sometimes they'd have like the dot going around with it. So I think of like that dot as like the 808. So whenever if the 808's going down, if it's going up, if it's that's why like I like to have a lot of movement, because then it almost feels like it's taking you somewhere. Like you're riding along with it.
Gotcha.
So I love 808s.
A typical song of yours, does it start with you writing something? Does it start with a beat? Or does it kind of just all depend on the mood? Or is there no typical process?
Either like I'll have like an idea that, that I know I want to write a song about this, or I got like maybe like a slick line in my head and like this is a good metaphor to build a song around.
Right.
And so I'll make a song around that. But then a lot of times, like if I'm just trying to, write a song, I got to have that beat first.
Gotcha.
And because that's going to inform, like if I'm singing, what melodies I'm doing. If I'm rapping, am I going fast, slow?
Right.
Sometimes you just need that inspiration from a beat.
That's one thing that definitely stands out with your music too, is not everybody that could rap can sing, or even with the auto tunes and things like that. Mm-hmm. But it's that's you that's singing on Whitney, isn't it?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I mean, you go from hitting those real deep notes to woo-hoo.
Yeah. I try, man.
How do you put together such a different? When do you know when you want to sing? When do you know when you want to rap? Is it just kind of what you're feeling in the beat?
Yeah, it's definitely what I'm feeling in the beat. I think in the future I'd like to make it more intentional. Mm-hmm. With like, okay, if I'm singing about love, then if I'm doing something about love, maybe I want to sing verse rap.
All right.
But at this point, it's definitely what I'm feeling in the beat.
How long have you been making music? You were writing poetry back in middle school.
Yeah.
But
it was terrible too. It was bad, man.
Was it just for thoughts? Was it trying to get girls? What type of poetry were you writing back in middle school?
Both. But most of the time it was like me just being dramatic. So right. you're in middle school, everything's serious.
Right.
Even when it's not serious, it's all serious.
A pimple ruins the entire world.
Just end of my month, I got a pimple. Or I had this crush on this girl and I was trying to talk to her and I tripped over.
Right.
And like I was like, oh no, it's the end of the world. You know what I mean? So then I would write poetry, and it would just it made no sense. It was awful.
Well, was there that one defining moment where you're like, I need to start making music? How did that just spark begin?
Yes, I remember this very specifically. I was at my friend Avery's house, who I've done music with before. The song with Not on the Daily. Mm-hmm. So him and Jericho, who's on this album, they're in that band. I've known them since way back. I was in his basement with Trey Smith. I think Jay Work talked about him in this interview. Mm-hmm. We go way back, and we were just like chilling in his basement, just going back and forth. We would freestyle for fun because
Right.
that's just what kids do.
Absolutely.
And so I had it in my head to like write a little something, and I was rapping it with them, and I was like, oh man, this is kind of good. And like they were like, yeah man, hey, that's that was kind of good. And Trey had already been doing music, and then Avery too, and so it's just kind of all around me. I look at those guys and I was like, hey man, I'm already writing poetry. Maybe if I rap, it'll be a little bit better.
Right.
That kind of thing.
That'll take us into a fun one that I always like to do called name dropping. You just mentioned them, so the first one will be, who is Jay Work?
Yeah, so I know him from high school. That's when I first met him, and I didn't really know him like that, to be honest with you. But he and a couple other guys like Chris Black, who's is also on the album. They would do these shows in downtown Willoughby, and like that was just so cool to me. To see those guys up there. They're definitely like big bro kind of guys to me. So I always used to see them going, and I've always looked up to Jay Work in that regard.
Yeah, the music that he's putting out is phenomenal.
Yeah, he's so talented, and he really is.
He's also one of the interesting ones where like you see him just in person, just relaxing, just totally relaxed, totally chill guy. Yeah. Then you get him behind a microphone and it's brrrr.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's really something else, and I think you can really tell and like gauge talent when you see something special in an artist. I think if he didn't have that something special, he would just be whatever. Right? He gets behind the mic, and just as you said, that's not the case.
Number 2, let's go with who is not on the daily.
Not on the daily. So I don't know if they're currently active, but that is Jericho, who is on Beautiful, and then our friend Avery. We all grew up together, played band, all that good kind of stuff, and so they put together this band, super talented. And so what happened was they put out like for that song, The Ride, they put together like this like demo, right, on SoundCloud. And so I'm just supporting them because they're friends. I'm like, yeah, let's play it. It was very good. And they're doing this one song, and Avery was on guitar. He breaks out into this bridge, and I'm like, yo, I got like, that's a beat,
right?
Because at the time, I'm still sampling whatever. I'm like, that's a beat. So I started making the beat. Then I texted them both, and I was like, hey, because I was gonna see one of them later on that day. I was like, hey, I just started writing to one of your songs. Is it cool if I sample it? They're like, yeah, it's whatever. We're like brothers, so that's whatever. So I started writing to it, and then I ended up just making a full song out of it.
Excellent.
Sometimes it just comes to you.
Sometimes it's there. The last one on name dropping is, who is Jada Simone?
Jada, oh man. So I've known Jada probably since like middle school, and that's one of the things about Beautiful is that just about everybody on there, if they're not, they're all people I've done music with in the past, and they're all good friends, right? And so me and Jada, we go way back. She just has this phenomenal voice.
It's very unique.
Yeah, oh my goodness, and you should hear her live. I have nothing but good things to say. It's just absolutely beautiful voice. And so, and good friends. So, every time, all the time when we're doing music, I'm always like, hey, we got to get Jada, on this. Right. Or same with Avery from Not on the Daily. He had done, we all used to do like music together. And so Jada's awesome, keep your eyes open, ears open, whatever, for some solo music from her.
Awesome.
We're going to try and put something together because, she just deserves to have some music. I got nothing but great things to say about her.
Excellent. And you kind of brought up a quick thing there about kind of things that are in the works for you. Who are 3 people on the local or regional scene that you'd like to work with in the next year?
I'd like to work with in the next year. I talked to Jay Work recently, just like, hey man, we gotta, we were saying we gotta link up, and we've been talking in the past, and so I think just being intentional about hitting him up. I would love to do a song with him, Mike Miles is somebody who I was recently put onto. Yeah, just because I don't know him personally, but again, another phenomenal rapper. I mean, there's just so much talent in the area.
We're down to one more.
What? Okay, just one more. I want to hit up Adi Ray. I know those are all people that have been on your show, but
that's the perfect reason to bring him up, because now I have to go talk to Adi Ray and be like, hey, Adi, you got somebody else over here.
Yeah. What was this? I think, what was the name of the song? I want to say it was like Soda Pop or something like that.
That was one of them.
Single, and that beat was just hitting right. Like I was like, oh man, like that's, yeah, I gotta. He's doing Invasion Studios and all, the different media surrounding that. I would love to get in touch with him. I should hit him up. But there's just so many, just people that I got my eyes open to. Young Cap is another fantastic.
He's somebody else that a lot of people have been bringing up lately. I've seen a little bit of his stuff. I've listened to a few things of his.
Yeah, me and Fanaticus and Ja Lyrics, who are also artists on the album. We opened up for him, years back, and just puts on a great show.
And I think I did enough research to see that you're distributing your stuff through CD Baby. Mm-hmm. Bam, research, internet stalking. We got it going on in College Conversations.
Let's go. I'm impressed.
What made you choose CD Baby over like a DistroKid, or what made that the superior service for you?
So DistroKid is fantastic. First off, I've used DistroKid before. Their customer service is fantastic. Just all good things to say about them. But so the difference is, I don't know about all the different service packages, but I know one of the things that DistroKid doesn't do that CD Baby offered for a higher cost was copywriting the songs and then doing publishing. Right. So I figured
CD Baby will also do like the vinyls and hard presses and stuff too.
Yes. Right? Yeah. Which the vinyl is really expensive, because that's one of the things I wanted to do, and I was like, hey, maybe not yet.
Kind of make that one for your birthday present to yourself, like, all right.
Yeah, like maybe hold off just a little bit on that one. But just more services offered, and I wanted to go legit this time around.
Right.
So I figured I'll spend that extra money, go to CD Baby, but.
And I think, isn't it CD Baby, you only pay a one-time thing, opposed to DistroKid, you have to pay like an annual thing to keep things up and running?
It's the other way around. So
other way around?
DistroKid you pay like once a year, and just all your music you can have up there. Whereas like CD Baby, I think per release you have to pay a certain amount per year. Which that's less fortunate, but again, I do it for the copywriting and the publishing.
For sure.
So.
Yeah, taking care of your investment more.
Exactly. I'm just trying to handle my business and.
Right. When you're only going to get 0.00003 cents per stream, you might as well make sure you get as much as possible,
all of it. Right? Yeah. Oh my goodness. And I'm just trying to, treat myself like a business.
Right.
I think that's an important part to being a legitimate artist. If I'm telling people, hey, pay attention, I'm actually trying to do this, I got to treat myself right.
One of my marketing clients is G. Edward Smith. He's an author, and he's got this enormous website that we're overhauling. One of the articles that he had was great. Was to be a successful writer, you have to treat it like it's a job. You have to start 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock every day. Go write every day, even if you're not getting paid. You have to work on your craft every day if you want to be taken seriously. If you want to be good enough. Same with a musician. Cabin had a great little rant that he had during his interview of everybody needs music orientation.
Yeah.
Kind of, you go to McDonald's, you make sure this is how we do this is how we do that.
For sure.
And you work every day. You don't just work when you want, when the vibe hits you. Like, you need to be...
Oh, yeah. And, that's... I'm so glad that you said that. Just hit me a certain way. I think that's so important, just having that discipline in whatever you do. Because, like, if you really want to do something, it's going to take a lot of work.
All right.
And you're going to be down bad if you're continually working harder versus smarter.
Right.
And part of that is just having that discipline.
A lot of rappers, I do a game called Lyric Test.
Okay.
I'm going to not do that one with you.
Okay.
You're safe.
Okay.
Reason being is like a Jay Work or a Mike Miles, like it's a lot easier to try to trip somebody up with a lot of fast lyric stuff. But for you, what I want to try is what I'm going to call the elevator pitch.
Okay.
So I'm going to go through, not all of them, but kind of about half of each project and kind of I'm going to throw out a name of a song, and I want you just to look dead at the camera and kind of give that 15, 20-second elevator pitch. What it's about, why somebody should listen to it.
Oh, word. Okay. That's dope. Okay.
Again, in a marketing / entertainment show, we try to come up with the best content available.
Yeah.
This way, anybody that's looking for any of them, you're like, oh, all right, he seems cool, but I don't really want to listen to a full hour. If you could get a 20-second clip of this is what it's about, I think that could help one of those. Not only could a podcast take advantage of this, but just as an individual artist, how easy is it to sit in a chair, put 2 lights and a camera, look at a camera, and just get in the progression of this is what it's about, this is why you should listen to it, go, you know?
Yeah.
So the first one that we're going to go with is, we mentioned it before, Whitney.
Whitney. Okay. So Whitney's fantastic, in my opinion, in that it is my favorite song. It's so fun to sing. It is a love song, but the thing is, it's also about
Shooting
Pokemon.
stars.
Shooting stars. Jericho, that's my guy. It's about being able to step out of where you are, and no matter your situation, you can always be whatever your mind takes you.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's about me, it's about you, it's about everybody. It's feel good, it's about being beautiful, and we can all be beautiful.
Yeah, 2 seconds left. Crying shame.
Let's go. Crying shame. Look, it's about karma, bro. You mess with me, you mess with my friends, you mess with one person.
Testify.
Yeah, we good. Testify. Sometimes you just gotta throw it up and testify.
That's sold. That right there is marketing on that one. Now we're going to shift it over to the project from 2017.
Okay.
And this one we're going to get it down to 7 seconds per song.
Okay, I'm ready.
Sell Me On Anyway.
Anyway, life happens. Sometimes you gotta go hard anyway.
Move.
Move. Sometimes you gotta get up and move yourself.
Ride.
Hey, I ride for my homies.
How much?
Too much.
What about the outro?
It's just the outro to the project. It's where I was in life.
Why is the outro like 2 songs past, not at the end?
So then there's the thank you track.
Is that supposed to be bonus?
Yes, and
Okay.
it samples the outro. So that's kind of why it's not the last one.
And that's the elevator game. I think we just did 2 albums in about 15 floors maybe?
Hey, it took me some practice, but I think I got it down.
If somebody could only listen to one song from 2 and 3, what would you want them to listen to?
Anyway.
Anyway, how come that's the song of the project?
It describes where I was personally and musically. So yeah, that's the one I'd send people to.
And what about Beautiful?
Beautiful describes the whole album.
And the photo for Beautiful, that came straight out of the family archives?
Yeah.
That's well before the locks, it looks like.
I had the idea. I was like, oh, I think I want to do like a baby picture kind of thing, for the album. And my mom was, we didn't have any of like the photos. My mom was like, hey, I got this old Kodak camera, and there is this photo of you playing like this Barney piano. I could look for it. So like over like 2 months, she was looking for it.
Nice.
And then when she found it, she went to the library, got the negative, and was like, hey, here you go. Here's the file. And
that's awesome.
Made that the album art.
I like Mike Miles for 27. Also kind of the same idea. You had that really old photo of him kind of just, here I am, now I'm 27, I'm just rapping my ass off.
Yeah. That's the vibe of it all.
And I ask every musician this. Looks like you typically only release things in projects. How do you determine if you want to do an EP, an album, a single? Is it just the vibe of something, or do you just kind of try to put everything together as one? How do you make those decisions?
I've been really growing in terms of my release strategies, because I think for a lot of people, it's more reasonable and like lucrative to do singles. That's just the way where the industry is and where we are individually as artists.
Absolutely.
For a lot of people, it's better to just do singles. But I was just sitting at this point where like I had these ideas, and if I'm having ideas, then I want to put it together as a project. But that, you could see a bunch of singles from me in the future.
It's amazing to me how almost everybody that's been on this show, they're playing music. I'm like, put that shit out. Like, no, I'm waiting for the right, no, now is the right time. Like, put it out consistently, like, keep me on your mind every month, every week, whatever.
I think that's especially where it depends on, like, the individual artist. And I say that to say, like, don't be like me. I really don't like the fact that it took me so long to put this album together. because that didn't allow me to be consistent the way artists need to, you know, to build fan bases and keep those fans. But
I think a lot of that's kind of people still used to the old record business of, you know, it takes a lot of money to put out a full CD and all the album work and everything else. It still takes a lot of time and money to put out how everybody does it now. But there's so many people putting out music to where if you could just know every Friday, Jamil the Show is coming out with a different track or a different remix of something. You're like, all right, every Friday, eventually your fans are going to start going to look for it and say, oh, all right, it's just like it's a TV program. It's a scheduled, regular, like, finally, it's fucking Friday, I get my Jamil fix, you know?
Exactly. I think it can be also easier for the artist in terms of marketing and like giving yourself direction for like how you're going to promo yourself and reach new people. You know, if I have say Whitney was my single, right? If I'm just putting out this single, the song Whitney, now I can focus myself 100% in reaching people who would get the song or reaching people who would like the song or, you know, doing a video for that and, you know, starting to, on a smaller basis, build that up for myself.
Absolutely.
I mean, it all depends, but in general, it tends to be better for a lot of artists at you know, our more local level to do single work.
What things have worked for you or not worked for you as far as marketing yourself as an artist?
I think, first off, I think I'm a lot better at marketing others than I am for myself. You know, I think just sometimes I'll get in my head.
Just that self-conscious of like, it's your name on it, you really want to do it a certain way.
And what Erykah Badu said, you know, I'm an artist, so like I'm sensitive about what I do, you know, however she said it.
That's amazing. That's the second person in a row in this room that's quoted that.
Really?
J-Work quoted that exactly.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think his impression was a little bit better though, so we'll put that one out there. J-Work wins the Erykah.
Definitely paraphrasing, but you know, I mean that's real, and so I think as far as like my marketing and all that kind of stuff, that's one thing that like I'm always working to improve upon. But as far as things that have worked, I think just orienting myself to people versus numbers. So I'm not trying to get my follows up, I'm not trying to get my likes up, I'm not trying to get my views up in a vacuum. What I'm trying to do is reach more people, get more people to like whatever social post, get more people to listen to these different songs or view a video, you know?
Yeah, that's where a lot of people fuck up. I mean, it's really nice to have a lot of followers, but
for sure,
you also look worse, say if you have 10,000 followers and each post gets 10 likes, opposed to if you had 1,000 followers and each post gets 10 likes, your percentage is 100% better.
Man, you know, and that's why I'm so incredibly grateful for I don't even want to call them my fans because they're really just friends and people I'm not friends with yet.
They came out in numbers though when we made you do
and it really happens like that. And like I'm just so incredibly thankful that like yo, you guys are like really holding it down and like riding, and like that's awesome. You know, I don't have incredible numbers yet, but I'd rather just work one person at a time getting those fans right.
Right. And I think you kind of touched on something there of you're not looking at somebody as just a follower. You're looking to actually build the relationship with them, because that's how you're actually going to be a successful artist. That's how you get a market for your artist.
Well, you know, and that's what if any artist ever asks me for, you know, my opinion on that kind of stuff, that's exactly what I'm telling them. You know, focus on the people. Don't focus on the number, because first off, comparison is going to be the thief of your joy. So I'm gonna be real down bad if I'm looking up, Set It Off got how many thousands of plays, and I'm like, oh man, I know him. How am I not where he's at? Like, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
And I'm not getting anywhere if I'm spending all this time trying to compare myself to whatever rapper that I know versus building those relationships with people and giving meaning to my music. You know, just like that elevator pitch, trying to tell people why you should care about me or what I do. You know, I'm all about a person versus a number.
Gotcha. What's your, if you don't mind me asking, what's your highest streaming song? What's performing the best?
Beautiful.
Beautiful?
Yeah, definitely Beautiful. But I mean, it's also the first on the album. So if I tell you to check out the album, even if you shuffle play, you're probably going to click on that one first.
Right. Do you have friends or family in Chicago, or do people randomly finding you in Chicago being your top 4 city?
Yeah, so I do have some friends out in Chicago, and then that's where Fanaticus is located.
Gotcha.
So,
because currently Cleveland doing the best, Mentor number 2, Willoughby number 3, Chicago and Akron filling out the top 5.
Let's go. Shout out Akron, okay.
The only good thing coming out of Akron is listening to his music and Ove Mendoza doing tattoos.
Okay.
If you have tattoos, don't you?
I have one.
Love on the wrist?
Yeah.
What inspired that one?
I did a song back in high school called Love on Her Wrist, and it was an ode to the To Write Love on Her Arms campaign, which advocates for suicide prevention awareness. And so, I mean, that's just something that's been very important to me in my life. So I always knew I was like, I'm going to get this tattooed. And, you know, by the time I was old enough, I did it.
Nice. Was that the 18th birthday?
So it's actually a little bit later. I think I was 20 when I did it, but...
Gotcha. Close enough.
Yeah.
What made you stop at one? Or do you have a lot of other envisioned?
So I flip-flop on it, and that's why I haven't. You know, I'm definitely one of those people where, like, it's a near permanent decision.
Right.
So, you know, if I want to be sure that, like, I'm all the way down, because, you know, sometimes I just want a full, you know, I want some sleeves. I want, you know, I love tattoos. You know, I'm a big fan. But, you know, if I know there's a day this week that I woke up and went, you know, I'm cool with one, then, like, I'm not ready to make that decision yet.
That's awesome. I'm one of the few elephants in the room that has none, being that I hate needles and I don't like permanent decisions. So, like, put both of those together.
That's a tattoo, so.
Never. You are Jamil in the Show. There needs to be a Jamil podcast.
Okay, you think so?
Absolutely. Just like we have set up here, you got 1 or 2 cameras. It doesn't have to be the nice one. I used to get a lot more footage out of the other one, but that one's, you know, you look way better. It gets better things here and there, but you can start with that one, no problem. Right. But like you said, you have all these musical friends. You're learning. You guys are all creative. Whether it's kind of come on and talk about the music that you're making or just what's going on in life, film it. Because again, like you said, there's no pictures of you, no video of you. I get more business out of the podcast than I do putting up ads for what I do. The reason is they see me giving the information. They're like, oh, all right. Then you see months go down. They're like, oh, this guy's doing what Colin said.
Yeah.
I should probably do what Colin said. You know, kind of just, it gives you that platform. I'm in front of the camera. We have an hour and a half of footage. Clip it up and do whatever I want with it. Clip it up. The J-Work, an hour and a half filming, 90 plus clips I got out of it.
And that's fantastic.
Every person that's about an hour, as long as you're semi-interesting, I have at least 20 clips of you.
That's fantastic.
And that's why, like I mentioned earlier with Color Radio, why do I rank higher than their names? I have so much content just because of the podcast of how I can break it down. And
I really appreciate that recommendation, because that's definitely something that, like, I want to work on as far as, like, the ranking and just having more content. And that's funny because Ja Lyrics, who's also on the album, he was telling me a little while ago, he's like, bro, we should do a podcast. And I was like, nah, man, probably not.
Right. But especially as an artist too, like, if there's anybody that you're looking to collaborate with that might be a couple levels above you, approaching somebody, even like, you know, I was lucky enough to sit down with the owner of Port Cleveland. The dude's making tons of money downtown, has a phenomenal product. It takes an hour and a half to sit down and talk with me about coffee, and I don't do jack shit about coffee at the time. I'm sipping on a $9 cup of coffee like, wow, this actually is pretty good opposed to Mickey D's or whatever, you know. But like, I'm not in his league on doing any of those things, but because you have this platform, even if you're not getting many views, it's an honor to be like, oh, they want to talk to me. So it gets you that step through the door and opening a new door that might not have been opened. I'm like, I got ideas racing through my head as you're saying that. I'm definitely gonna revisit that. Another idea I'll throw out at you. This is kind of abstract and it hasn't stuck with any musician, so feel free to take it. Okay. But we mentioned earlier, Spotify, you're getting 4 zeros and a 3, I think, is what you're making per stream. It's. If you were to take an album, say, I don't know, 6-10 songs. And just like I talked about, kind of play the song, give a quick one, or beforehand, give a quick 1-2 about what it's about, the making, and put that on a podcast form. You make $10 per 1,000 listens on a podcast. Oh, I didn't know that. That is like really 10 times higher than what you're making on a stream.
That's actually a really good idea, because I was already thinking about doing like a commentary version album, just where I'm talking about things. So, I mean...
And also on that multi-purpose thing too, it's beautiful. It'd be especially good for this. But to make an instrumental version And
that's real soon.
But also make that like stream the one with words, but on your website make it a download only. I have to
for content creators. Yeah,
exactly. I think we talked about that, right? Didn't I tell you about
briefly? That's way on my list. Yeah, that's way up there.
Yeah, so that's one of those. I mean, I've already Who's Next? Is that the name of the beat?
Next up. Yeah.
Next up?
Yeah, that's
that thing works. I've used it in 3 clips already. It's like the build of it is perfect to kind of like that 1 minute clip. To boom, boom, boom. It builds the hype. You're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, that's definitely coming soon.
We haven't talked about this on the podcast yet, so this is going into effect.
Okay.
Colin's Conversation is putting out a mixtape this year. It's going to be, as far as I know, the only one like it. What I'm trying to do is take people that have been on the show and everybody that's been on the show get together, make 1 or 2 songs both individually and collaboratively, and put it out as a project and do it every year.
Okay, that's nice.
Do you know any podcasts doing that?
I don't. No, I don't.
Yes, still one for Colin's Conversations. Yeah. But if you, now that you've been on the show, if you would like to be on that project, we would love to either get some vocals or some production from you.
Oh man, you know I'm always down for both. For any artist that listens to this, I'm down to collaborate with anybody. I don't charge. I'm just trying to.
And that's the beautiful thing about this project is we're making sure that everybody gets something out of it. We're going to be splitting royalties and kind of the nice perk from one of those, like, I don't make music, so why the fuck should Colin get a cut and Colin be on the thing?
Yeah, yeah.
All the information we gave there is I'm giving free website implementation to anybody on the project.
Okay.
That's another reason why anybody that's doing a collaborative project, everybody should make a website a couple months beforehand. Because say if there's 12 people on the project and we all put up these same links,
it's 12 times.
That's 12 times
the promotion.
Boom, 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 and it's all the same content just uploaded to the different mediums. And taking 1 or 2 people, say if you're averaging 500 listens, if everybody's averaging 500, whew.
I think that's the thing. That's the crazy thing about, like, I feel like why people don't collaborate more, because like that's the key right there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Put us 2 together, now we got 2 times or whatever.
And the beautiful thing about that from the search engine is all of those names that will be on my project, those names are already tied through the podcast.
Exactly.
So then you're deepening those ties to where that's how you're going to get more things coming up of related artists. Currently nobody.
Yeah.
But, oh wait, he was just on a project with such and such. He was on that podcast. And then everybody gets to blow up.
And then now individually we're all strengthening our funnel and everything. It'll be fantastic.
Absolutely. I'll get you more information on that. We're going to get a meeting like the first part of February, and we're trying to release Colin's Conversations Collaborations album on 6/1/2020.
Okay.
So we got about 5-6 months. I think it's about enough time to put together something wicked.
Yeah, okay.
Because everybody that's been on the show, lyricists, beat makers, everybody's original.
A lot of talent.
Everybody's here. We also already have a confirmation of DJ Undo from Romania.
Yeah.
Have you heard of him?
I saw on the website, I think.
He was a few years ago in the Red Bull World Championship for DJs. He's going to put down at least 1 track on the project. So it's going to be sweet. How we end every interview, it's about that time. I already gave you a kind of a heads up, and I'll go focus the camera in on you. But the digital soapbox, you get 1 minute to end the interview on whichever way you want, whether you want to go promotional, whether you want to go inspirational. You get to end it on your own.
All right, I'm ready. Hey guys, this is Jamil and the Show. I just came out with my album Beautiful on all major streaming platforms. That's JAMIL. I just wanted to let you guys know that if you keep with it, you'll be beautiful. If you don't, you're beautiful. That's the beauty in all of it. Nobody's self-made. Always keep your eyes open, keep your hearts open, and you can be whatever you want to be.